Next up, at UFC 270, we have Jasmine Jasudavicius versus Kay Hansen. Kay Hansen is 7-4 in her career, 4-1 in her last 5, coming off a very close loss to Corey McKenna. Jasmine Jasudavicius, Jasudavicius.
JJ.
6-1 in her career, 4-1 in her last 5, coming off a solid win on Contender Series. Jasmine is a grappler who likes to come forward, push the pace with her striking. She has a solid collar tie underhook clinch, so she'll grab the back of the head, she'll go on the underhook.
I noticed that too. I noticed that
move.
same thing. Yeah, I was right. That was right in my notes right there. I can't believe you saw the same thing.
Well, your technical analysis is spot on.
She's like this.
She has that solid collar tie underhook clinch where she controls your body. She throws heavy knees in there, and then she works some takedowns. Her takedowns are a bit sloppy, but she's got such fantastic hips that even if there's a scramble that's created because it's a poor takedown attempt, she will end up on top and she'll scramble her way up. Kay Hansen is incredibly young. She made her UFC debut at 20. She's a short, powerful grappler who I said she likes to Mike Tyson her way into the clinch. And when I say Mike Tyson, she literally covers up like this and just giant bobs and weaves and then just comes over the top of it to close that distance. It's not very technical, but she protects her chin and just stomps her way forward. Once she does close that distance and she gets, she presses you against the cage, then she just drops down to some legs. She'll grab 1 or 2 and just straight up lift. On more than one occasion, you will find footage of her just lifting her opponent clean up. And then after she gets the takedown, she just immediately starts working for submissions. This honestly is a pretty fun matchup between two women who will absolutely go at it. I think Jasmine's the better striker and has the better hips, but Kay's more powerful for sure, and she has the better takedowns. She's probably more technically skilled on the ground as well. The issue with Kay is she will fall behind in the striking because she's not very technical. And in her loss against Corey McKenna, it was clear that she did not have the striking defense or the technique to win those exchanges. So she immediately went to grappling, where she had some success. I think this is a really close fight. And I like Jasmine here. I think these odds are a bit wide. I think Jasmine can win the striking exchanges, and I think her hips will be good enough to defend the takedowns or at least create a scramble or work her way up if they end up on the ground. So I like Jasmine. Kay Hansen, big, not like she's small in stature, but she's powerful, aggressive, but I'm going Jasmine. You're making that stupid face. What?
I do like Jasmine. I don't like her in this fight. I just like her as a fighter. If you watch, there's a fight versus her versus Kylie O'Hearn. That's like those two girls. That was one of the toughest fights I've ever seen. I mentioned Charles Jourdain being the toughest guy, maybe in the UFC. It actually might be Jasmine Jasudavicius because that fight was just, she's nonstop throwing 1s and 2s. She will stand in the pocket and throw 1s and 2s, no problem. She doesn't have any power, but I mean, they're precise strikes,
Right.
and she'll take it. She'll take a shot to give a shot for sure. You mentioned her scrambling ability. She's an incredible scrambler. She is good on the ground. I was going to pick her. I watched her film first. I'm like, oh, man, she's tough as shit. She's good on the ground. She can, win the 1 and 2s. It's almost like Caitlin Chukagian, the way she can just kind of like 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 you to death. And then I watched Kay Hansen's tape, and I'm like, damn, she is tough, and she is phenomenal on the ground. And I think she's physical enough for those takedowns where I think Jasmine might, I kind of mentioned it with the Brandon Royval fight where he can kind of trust his scrambles too much and kind of get caught in bad positions. I think Jasmine kind of does the same thing where she doesn't mind going back to her back because she feels like she can just kind of sweep and scramble out of those positions. And I think versus Kay, if she's going to her back, I think she's going to get controlled and she might end up getting submitted. So, it's crazy that Kay Hansen is only 22 years old with this much experience and the talent that she has. She's going to be tough for a long, long time. I think she's tougher and can control those ground positions enough to dominate Jasmine on the ground. But I agree. If this is a standing fight, I think that Jasmine is tough enough and can throw enough volume to win this fight. But if this goes to the ground at all, I think Kay Hansen is going to dominate the fight.
Well, and if we look at the stats real quick, and Kay Hansen has a few fights in the UFC, so there is a sample size on her. Jasmine lands way more strikes, but she is fast. I mean, she's aggressive, she's fast, she just throws. But if you look at the grappling stats, because I think that's what will be a factor here, Kay Hansen's only 25% accuracy. And we don't have any defense on Jasmine because she didn't have to defend. But 25% accuracy, and then you get somebody like Jasmine who has the hips. You guys in the comments talk about Angela keeps talking about her hips. I've wrestled my entire life. Hips are the only thing that matter in wrestling, the only thing. And she's got great scramble hips. They're exactly where they need to be, and she'll win those scrambles. So you take a 25% takedown accuracy from Kay Hansen, you add the solid defense from Jasmine. I don't know if she'll have that success everybody thinks she will. And then especially, I've coached wrestling my entire life. And when we get, not at my entire adult life, and we get kids that are very strong, and they get used to being very strong when they're younger, and they'll pick people up, and they'll just get used to that, and they'll never learn the clean, solid technique because they were so good at just being powerful. Kay Hansen is kind of like that. She's so strong that she can just pick things up. But then if you're actually going to scramble with her and you're going to work your technique, she's not as technically sound as you would think she is given some of the takedowns that she gets. So it's a lot of power stuff. Jasmine is super long, which is always hard to pick up somebody that's very long. She's got solid scrambling. I like Jasmine, but I fully recognize just what a tank Kay Hansen is. And let's look at the pricing. DraftKings, 8,800 to 7,400. Honestly, there might be, you could argue there's decent value on either one. If you think Kay Hansen's going to get a bunch of takedowns, the fight likely goes the distance, so you're not going to get stoppage points, but there'll be some scrambling, some ground control. There'll be a bunch of strikes, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's some reversals here. So there could be some solid points. You're going to touch either one in DraftKings?
I might. Depends on the other kind of values of, because at 88, you're looking for a finish
That's
right
a
around that
yeah,
88, and Jasmine is. I mentioned how tough she is. I think that Kay definitely can finish Jasmine, but she's got to get to the ground early and kind of exhaust her and work submissions early, because I think late she's not going to be able to submit her. So, 88. I agree. Maybe the $7,400 is the better value, because she if she wins those scrambles, she's going to be on top as well and be able to score very well.
Yeah, and I think it's probably a more monkey knife fight play. So obviously monkey knife fight, all you need to do is say more or less on the strikes we see here. I think Kay Hansen can land more than 83 and Jasmine more than 72. I think they'll go at it. I think it goes the distance. There'll probably be a bunch of scrambles, a bunch of wild stuff on their feet. So I like the more. What do you think?
It's tough for me because I see her being able to get takedowns kind of whenever she wants. So it's just whether she looks for submissions, which she is kind of more of a submission fighter than a TKO fighter. So I just stay away from this one. I don't want to give advice.
Yeah, we'll see. And
Sorry. It's probably going to be bad advice.
They move with the money. So if people come in and they hammer the under, it'll go down. They hammer the over, it'll go up, and then the under will be a little more attractive. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if it moves. But honestly, I'm actually looking forward to this fight. I think it'll be a lot of fun, and it'll be interesting to see what happens here.